ECU?
R.
Do you believe purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
All right, welcome in. Hoist the Colors on a Thursday. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We got a lot to discuss. We'll hit some ECU baseball, of course, and it is draft day. And so we're going to have our top 10 picks of the NFL draft mocked on today's show. Worked on that last night. Philip Pilgrim will have his. We'll also be joined by Bobby Harward as well to get that done in segment 3. So looking forward to that. We're going to take a look at ECU's potential path to a conference championship in the regular season in the American and baseball. And we're also just going to talk some baseball headlines with our guest who is in studio. He is play-by-play voice Dylan Johnson, his second year calling the action on the ECU Sports Network. What's going on, Dylan?
I'm doing good. How about you, Stephen?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I'll move this mic a little bit closer to you so we can hear you well, man. But in studio today, so getting you out of the office hours.
Yeah, just breaking up the monotony here on a Thursday.
There you go. Well, I do have to ask you, as we take the air today, I did watch the ODU game, and it seemed fairly miserable. Like watching it, it seemed cold.
Yeah,
they're doing renovations there. First off, Pirates win 19-9, so that's the good part. We'll get to some of the actual on-air, or the on-field action. How was the setup for the media? Or for you guys in the press calling the game?
You know, it's not the worst. It's comparable to some schools' permanent setups, but they had us down the first baseline, kind of just on a couple of folding tables set out there for Coach O and myself. So kind of a different way to take in a ball game down the first baseline. So we, I said on air, I think we're not very going to be very helpful here as far as telling you how the strike zone looks because, we don't have the best angle as far as pitches in or out down there. I can confirm it was really cold once the sun went down, and I, like everybody else, was very happy when Colby Wallace I'll agree with you yesterday. I'll give him the save in my book.
Dude, he gets the save. I have to give him the save. The real question is, did you come prepared with enough layers, or were you up there shivering calling the game?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
I had a light jacket, so I was prepared, which is much better than I normally do. Like when we were at Duke, and it was kind of chilly that night too. And even though you're inside, it's kind of like it's about as thin as a porta potty would be, basically. So you might as well be outside. I wasn't prepared for that one. This one, I had a light jacket, but even still, by the time we get to that 7th inning, and it's about 4 hours later, you're shivering a little bit.
All right, we're going to dive more into ECU baseball here in a minute with Dylan, second year calling the action play-by-play with ECU baseball. Philip Pilgrim producing today. We have a comment, Philip, from one Lane Smith, shocker. He says, I heard Philip is ditching the boys for a different draft party tonight. I'm disappointed. So were you invited to multiple draft parties?
No, I was not. I was only invited to one party. It's the same party that I've been to the last, 3 years now. And I'm not ditching the draft party that I've been invited to the last 3 years consistently go to. So I don't even know what the hell you're talking about, Lane.
So how does Lane hear about this without even sending the invite?
Lane's neighbor, Alex, is really good friends. Well, he's friends with me too, but he's really good friends with my roommate, Thomas. So I'm guessing while I was out of town this weekend in Colorado, they were watching the Canes playoff game together. They probably made draft plans. And I'm guessing Lane said, hey, make sure you invite Philip. And Thomas probably said, hey, Philip's already got plans. That's how I'm guessing this went. There
you go. What about you, Dylan? Are you a draft guy? Are you an NFL guy at all?
I'm an NFL guy, yes, but draft guy, not as much. I'm a Chicago Bears fan, so
okay.
that will tell you as much as you need to know because it feels like for every year I listen, or every year I tune in, it's another. I need to target the offensive line, mixed results, so I'm a little resigned to it at this point.
You guys at least have some exciting times ahead with Caleb Williams, and I know you didn't win the playoff game, but the electric touchdown throw that was one of the coolest. Just as a sports fan, one of the coolest moments. So maybe they'll get some more weapons for Caleb, or I feel like they need some defense more than anything. I don't know now.
Yeah, there was a lot of couldn't stop anybody moments down the stretch there. But that playoff game was at least exciting. I was absolutely stunned. Like, I didn't react at first. Like, my wife is over here, like, she's freaking out. She's like, aren't you more excited? I'm just like, as a football fan first, I don't know how that touchdown even was allowed to happen. So that was kind of, I was like, for 10 seconds, just like, did that just happen?
It's been an interesting offseason for a lot of teams. We'll see. And really how tonight goes, just a preview of the mock, the draft really feels like it starts at pick 3, so we'll get more into that segment 3 when Bobby joins us. All right, back to ECU baseball. Look, we talked a few weeks ago, Dylan. It's been kind of similar to last year, just with the ups and downs. And I will say this year, I think it's more – I'm not going to say, like, it's only the injuries, but I feel like it's been more so we can say the injuries have played a big role. 25-16-1, 9-6-0, but 2 weekend starters down. Several players that we expected to make an impact either haven't made an impact due to injury or, have missed time here and there. I'm still not even sure like what Walker Barron's deal is. He's in and out of the lineup the last few games. Grady Linehan, we know broken nose. We'll see when he's back. It's just been you're always going to have injuries, but this year it's felt like they're a little snake bitten at times.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, to start on the pitching side, too, last season we talked a lot about down 2 weekend arms or your projected 2 weekend arms. This year you've got 2 guys, but I feel a little bit different because we got to see GVK and Weber kind of shove at times, Van Kempen especially early on in the year. So what you're missing when these 2 guys are out for an extended period of time because of what they gave us early on, whereas with Antolik and Towers coming off of major injuries, we were kind of projecting what we would be able to get from them, but we didn't really know as they were missing the year. This year, it's a little tougher from the pitching side because you know exactly what it is you're missing. And then on the position player side, we know they had a lot of depth coming into the year, but at this point, as we've seen, over the last week or so, the lineup kind of shuffle around a lot, and Cliff is, out loud saying that he's looking for guys to really take ownership of a starting spot in the lineup, but you've been robbed a little bit of the depth because of the injuries, so some days you're looking at the options and you're just going, there's just not a ton of them left to try to plug in.
Yeah, really just not a ton of options to go to. Any clarification? I don't know how much personnel you're able to get in pregame, but on like Walker, I know he's been dealing with the illness, and I know he didn't play the night Kalinic started, but I saw he was there. He at one point in the game, at least on the TV stream, which you could hardly see anything, but I could see the dugout. Dylan, it showed Walker in the dugout with a sweatshirt on and like catcher's gear over the sweatshirt. So at least he was there and like trying to participate. I guess, I don't know. Any clarification there? Is it kind of a game by game deal?
I don't think that was illness related. Yeah. Now I'm not 100% sure. Now I think Coach O kind of alluded more to, he felt like it was more just giving your starting catcher a break when you can as we're going down the stretch run of the season. So every game's going to be important. And we're going to need a lot from Walker, but I don't believe, but I can't tell you for certain if that was still related to that kind of lingering illness that kind of popped up out of nowhere a couple weeks ago.
So going into this weekend, you hope that at least the good side of Tuesday was we saw a ton of offense from ECU. And, Austin Irby, a couple hits to the middle of the field, 3 hits in all, and you just hope that springboards this offense. And we've seen them put up really good games, Dylan. I guess we're still looking for that consistency. But mainly it feels like if they can just get something going with Austin Irby, I think at that point you can kind of go to the next level. Because most people going into the season anticipate, all right, obviously you got Braden, you got Jack, and you got Colby. If Austin's, kind of that 4th guy in the middle of the order, you're going to have a pretty good offense. But for whatever reason, it just hasn't clicked. So maybe that's the turning point, hopefully.
It would be a big, kind of almost, let's call it an acquisition here for ECU to get Austin Irby to show, again, kind of what he showed us late last year would kind of unlock some more pop, which this lineup has needed at times this year. And part of the reason where you hold out hope all year with Austin is because you've seen it from him down the stretch last year. So we know he's certainly capable of it. Cliff has kind of referred to him to me as a kind of a feel player. He needs to feel it in a sense at the plate. And it looked like he took a step in that direction against Old Dominion. So, I mean, if he's able to do that, I think it kind of unlocks another gear or perhaps a higher level of consistency out of the lineup.
I did notice that in Coach O's postgame with you guys, with Austin, he kind of said we've been working on a lot of stuff off the field, and he feels like it's starting to click. So I don't know exactly what that means, but hoping that it clicks for ECU down the stretch. On the pitching side, look, I mean, it just is what it is at this point. You know you have Norby, who you can rely on. I mean, the strikeout to walk ratio is still really good. And outside of that, as far as proven starting pitchers, it's just kind of an unknown from game to game. But you do know you have Jenkins, you got Webb, who can do, I guess, both, Ethan Rose, Gavin Marley. So, 4 or 5 guys that I feel pretty good about going to the weekend. And then after that, it's kind of like, I guess if you're Cliff Godwin, you just keep giving guys opportunities. Luke Payne's been good as well, and kind of seeing who comes up. So any assessment on where this thing could go this weekend on the pitching side?
I mean, I think, Ethan Norby is your sure thing. Sean Jenkins and Joe Webb, especially as of late, it's been kind of your sure things there. Everybody else, we've seen highs and we've seen lows. And so, Ryan Towers, certainly I would expect to see him go this weekend for ECU. But and when you say Cliff's going to keep giving these guys opportunities, I mean, I think there's really no other option. We're going to keep seeing some of these guys, and we're just going to keep they're going to have the opportunities. So let's just see you come out and throw your best stuff and throw strikes, especially. I think that, when Coach O and I are talking on the air, that's probably more where he gets kind of frustration as a former coach for a guy who comes out of the bullpen. Let's say Tuesday against Old Dominion, for example, you're up big on the road. This is a game that, you're kind of tracking towards a 7-inning win. And if in those scenarios, especially, you have a guy come in and he's not throwing strikes, Coach O will kind of look at times and go, well, if not now, then when are you going to do it?
Something for me to watch. I guess we'll see if we get the pitching probables going into Friday, and I'll touch more on USF next segment. I just dove into a big preview for them. I don't know if you've done any research yet, Dylan. They're an interesting team, but their Friday guy, they haven't won a Friday game, I think, in conference play yet. Their Friday guy was good early in the year, and he's been solid, but he just threw 2 innings out of the bullpen against Stetson on Tuesday, so I don't know if he's going to start now. And then we know Luke Payne threw, 1 1/3 or something like that on Tuesday at ODU. So I guess we'll see who's starting Friday for both teams. I would assume Norby probably starts Saturday. Their Saturday guy has been one of the better guys in the conference this year, and they got a good Sunday guy too. So Friday could be an interesting game, I guess, if they leave Norby on Saturday.
Yeah, you're going to back into the weekend, I guess, with Friday being more so what you'd expect from Sunday guys going into a weekend. But, Aliseo, whose numbers haven't been nearly as good, has been their Friday guy. Michael Sine, the Saturday guy you're talking about, has been really good this year. And then the conference pitcher of the week is Caden Smith, who just went 7 really dominant innings against UAB to avoid a sweep, which was kind of a surprising weekend for South Florida. So them, much like everybody else in the conference, has just kind of been largely inconsistent this year.
Did you ever think that we'd be on April 23rd and Alex Boucher would have 8 pitching appearances and a save?
No, I don't think so. And I don't know that, Boucher has kind of taken us by surprise in a good way with the way he's been able to pitch on the mound this year. I don't know if he expected going into the year to be used kind of, and also in some high leverage situations that he gets in there too. The UTSA, unfortunately ended in a walk-off there, but he's brought in a extra innings, bases loaded situation. So I know that he's probably focused as much on the pitching side of things or more than the hitting side of things this year, just because of the nature of, he's going to the mound for the first time in his college career this deep into it. But it's been a good surprise, and that's just kind of where we've been at, that we've needed him to be out there as many times.
How do we feel, and I'll get Philip's opinion on this too. I think I'd like to see Ryan Towers get another shot at a weekend starter role. Obviously he started on Sunday, but he was only able to go a certain amount of pitches because he started Tuesday. We know what happened at UTSA, as he famously said, it was a yes hitter, which I think it was an all-time quote followed by the no-hit bid. But to me, he looks at least composed out there as a starter. You kind of know, for the most part, he's going to throw strikes and give you a chance. Obviously, the UTSA game didn't go well. The state game, I thought it was a tight zone, and he kind of got bit by, a wind-aided home run at one point. But I just feel like maybe he can give you another weekend arm if you kind of move in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we will absolutely see him as a starter get a few more shots down the stretch of the season. He's a guy who's been there, who's done that. You've seen him have great outings this year, so you know he's capable of it. I think the good outings have outweighed the poor outings to this point in the season. So with the state of the pitching staff with the injuries as it is, I think absolutely he's a guy in there. And aside from his pitching, you talked about his kind of all-time quote there. I think he's an absolute good teammate to have around there too. I know Cliff's talked about just enjoying being around him. He's a guy who brings energy as opposed to kind of sucking energy out of the dugout at times. So he's a great example this year of, I know Cliff's talked about the kind of people they have in the dugout, but even when things aren't going the way he wants with a couple of the outings this year, Towers has been a good example of there are a lot of dudes in that dugout who are just fun to be around this year.
What about you, Phil? I know you've been a big Frank Saccone guy, and unfortunately we've only seen him start, one game, and he just has not found a rhythm. But Towers, what do you think? Weekend starter?
I think now, too, with the new information about GVK not being able to come back, there's more of a chance that Towers gets put in that role. I think that this staff wanted this thing to be Norby, GVK, Weber, and Towers in the midweek, and rightfully so, and they were trying not to really mess with that. Well, now that you know GVK's for sure not coming back, that opens up more opportunities. Also, these more opportunities in the weekends. The other thing is these midweek games are really crucial, and they have been, and they will continue to be, but you're only down to 2 midweek games left now because they don't play a midweek the week of exams. So you've got it now where you've got more weekend series left than you do weekday opportunities. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets moved to a weekend now, and I almost wonder if Sunday of this past week was kind of that transition into that. Maybe we do see him as the Sunday starter because this is a guy who you really thought, like Dylan was mentioning, was going to be a starter last year. He's been a pretty good starter this year, and I really think that's where he feels the most comfortable with starting the game.
We'll see how it shakes out this weekend. USF in town, by the way. Sunday's game moved up to 12 noon, that announcement this morning, with some rain in the forecast. So we'll see if any other changes are made. Let's get a break in. When we come back, ECU's potential path to a regular season championship. ECU, UTSA, UAB kind of all in the hunt right now. I've got all their remaining schedules pulled up. We'll break that down, how the Pirates can get there after this.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted
Everything you need to know in the world of ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in Hoist the Colors. We've got play-by-play voice for ECU baseball, Dylan Johnson, hanging out in studio today. Coming up segment 3, we'll pick our top 10, or we'll mock our top 10 picks of the NFL draft tonight. Bobby Hard will join us, and Philip Pilkin and I will do that as well. Dylan, we were talking during the break. Look, a lot of complaints about the ODU broadcast, and I'm sure they do a great job especially with covering ODU. That's the team they know. But if you're watching on ESPN Plus and you hear the announcer talking about things that don't make sense, like not realizing Colby Wallace can pitch, which to his defense, he had not pitched all year, so maybe he was just going off the season stats. But still, you can listen to Dylan Johnson and Coach O on 94.3 The Game, and you can do the sync my broadcast, sync my game, where you can link it up. So
yeah, shameless plug there. Yeah. So anytime, 943thegame.com, IBX Media app, Coach O and I, we know what's going on. We know what's going on with ECU. We know what the score is, although in his defense, yes, the live stats were all screwed up there with Boucher coming into pitch, coming back out, staying as the DH. But we've heard that from a lot of people this year. Consider that a compliment anytime anybody says they will kind of mute the broadcast, throw us up there to listen to Coach O and myself. So you can do that at any time. And look, I get it, every once in a while you'll get lucky. I don't blame anybody for wanting to listen to last year the VCU.
Oh, yeah, that dude was electric.
I don't blame anybody there. I was having a good time hearing him just through the wall in the press box. But any other situation, yeah, put me and Coach O on there.
943thegame.com. You can hear it, and also on the IBX Media app on the go. All right, let's get into these standings. I wanted to bring this up. We got 4 weekends left. I mean, I think realistically it's a 3-team race for the title. Wichita State's a game back, and you have a lot of teams, 4 teams at 7 and 8. But, with 4 weekends left, my argument is if ECU allows one of these teams to catch them, you're probably not going to win the title anyway. So I kind of broke it into a 3-team race. ECU's a game back, UTSA and UAB at 10 and 5. ECU has the tiebreaker head-to-head over UAB, does not have the tiebreaker over UTSA. And then these 2 teams play each other the final weekend of the season in San Antonio. So here's what each team has left, and we'll kind of discuss what we think maybe ECU needs to go to kind of get itself in position to win a regular season title. All right, Pirates, USF this weekend at Memphis, which is one of those mini 7 and 8 teams, versus Rice, which is one of those mini 7 and 8 teams, and at FAU, which is 6 and 9 in the league. They're fighting to make the tournament to close out the regular season. UTSA this weekend, they go to Tulane. We know how Jekyll and Hyde they can be. Tulane, also 7 and 8 in the league. They host Wichita State, which is a solid team that took a series from UAB. We saw how good they can be Sunday. UTSA goes to Memphis, and then they close with UAB. So I feel like they've got a fairly challenging stretch down the road. UAB finishes with Memphis at home, at Rice, Charlotte at home, and then at UTSA. So before we dive into maybe what ECU needs to do, I feel like, for the most part, these schedules are pretty balanced, but I would almost say UTSA might have the toughest path, although they do get UAB at home. So any thoughts as you hear all that, Dylan?
I mean, I think it's been pretty hard to predict this year. We talked about the Americans been pretty inconsistent, a lot of Jekyll and Hyde teams to this point. I mean, I was surprised, so was Coach O, about South Florida barely avoiding a sweep at home against UAB. after UAB lost a series at home to Wichita State the weekend prior.
It's been weird.
So it's kind of been one of those, you'd like to kind of book some and, set it in stone, but you just haven't been able to this point. But I think, look, that series, the last one of the year, UAB and UTSA, I think it's tracking towards that's going to be a pretty big decider in kind of how these top three teams play out. But, look, me and Cliff Godwin talked about it before the game, the Sunday finale, or before Tuesday against ODU, pardon me. That your destiny is still in your hands, which is where you want it to be, which is ECU's in a better position coming down the stretch here than they were a year ago. So you take care of business with the series you have ahead of you. You might get some benefit there from some other teams down the stretch as far as playing UAB and UTSA, and maybe they beat up on each other in that final series. You have the tiebreaker over UAB, which will come in handy there, and then really, if you wanted to say too, the at-large chances not completely out of the window. I mean, for ECU, you're going to have to win, very nearly win out for the rest of the way there. Maybe hope for UAB and UTSA to also win just about all of their games, and then have them beat up on each other in that last weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think to get an at-large, to me, I think you've probably got to win. You got to finish at least top two, and maybe ECU does probably not run the table, but at least goes. Maybe they go something crazy like 10-2 in the league, but one of UTSA or UAB goes just as good. But at least at that point, by virtue of finishing that well, your RPI would stay probably where it is. Your strength of schedule would be good. But if you win the regular season title of the sixth best league, that at least gives you another, check on your resume. So I think it's a big deal. Yeah. I think ECU at least has to go 9-3 to have a shot in these final 12 conference games. I just don't know how realistic any sweeps are, Philip, because it across the league, but definitely with ECU's pitching right now.
It's tough. It really is. I think the one benefit is you do have a week coming up where you don't have a midweek, right? So you don't have to account for an extra game, which is great. And just so happens in that same midweek, the two teams you're trying to catch, UTSA is playing Texas and UAB is playing Auburn, who are both top 11 teams in the country. And then they do follow those up with some winnable series because one of them is playing Memphis, one of them is playing Charlotte. But do they try and win that game for RPI purposes and get their pitching staff a little roughed up, and then maybe it hurts them on Friday or Saturday. So, I think ECU being able to manage the staff is going to be tough. The good thing is if you want two guys managing your pitching staff with oddities, you want Cliff Godwin and Austin Knight because they've done it. You go back to 2022 where they did it so well, and then you look at the sample size that we've had this year. GVK and Colby Weber did not go down last week or the week before, or even the week before that. They have been out for a handful of weeks. And now, yes, maybe there's been some guys that have kind of fallen off that maybe we trusted a little more earlier in the season than we do now. But, at the end of the day, I think a lot of teams are in that same boat. So sweeps, are they, again, not unrealistic, but maybe a little bit of a stretch? Sure. But, hey, if these bats wake up and play to their potential, and we do have Austin Irby get hot, and Walker Barron is able to be in the lineup every day and plays to his potential, there's no reason you don't have to go out there and score 10, 12 runs a game against some of these teams, and then you're not really worried about what's going on the mound.
So in order to go 9-3, I mean, I guess there's multiple ways to that, but you could win 2 series, or I guess you win 3 series and sweep 1. If you were to win 2 series and sweep 2, what would that put you at? 10-2? Is that math correct? I think so. But as Johnny Stats points out in the chat, there have been 25 American Conference Series so far. Only 4 of them were sweeps. UAB has 2, ECU and Memphis have 1 each. And I believe, 3 of those were over Charlotte, which kind of tells you maybe how bad Charlotte is, unfortunately, for them.
Yeah.
It's been a struggle. I feel like if you go 9-3, the tough thing is if you go 9-3, UTSA could go 8-4. You still wouldn't pass them by virtue of the tiebreaker. So you just got to win some games. I think 9-3 is the minimum. I would expect UTSA to win most of these series. They haven't swept all year, so sweeping seems unlikely. But I don't know, Dylan. I guess in a perfect world, you'd want UAB to take out UTSA in that final series because you do have the tiebreaker. If you're fortunate enough to put yourself in a position to where you can tie UAB or UTSA come then.
Yeah, if we go into that final weekend within a game or two, UAB takes 2 out of 3 from UTSA or sweeps them or something along those lines, although it is in San Antonio. You can get a little bit of help from the tiebreaker there, but it's certainly an attainable goal. I mean, we're right there in the hunt, and as Coach O reminds people on the broadcast, and he's somebody who knows how that room works at the end of the year. He says winning your conference championship in the regular season still means a lot.
The other factor is FAU. Last point before we get a break in here. FAU, typically teams can pitch off in that final series if they're already in the conference tournament because they're saving, pitching for the tournament, trying to line it up. FAU right now would not be in the conference tournament, so you could get their best shot, basically, is what I'm saying, that last weekend, depending on what happens here down the stretch. Because remember, like in past years, there will be teams who basically just kind of punt the final series to make a run in Clearwater, if that makes sense. So that's another thing to watch going into that final weekend. Yeah. All right, Dylan, we appreciate it, man. You going to hang out for our draft segment? You got to get back to work.
I think I got to get back to work.
That's fair,
unfortunately.
Man. We'll hear you 6 p.m., 94.3 The Game, Friday, 4 p.m. as of now on Saturday, and 12 noon on Sunday, man. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Listen to Dylan Johnson, Coach O. They do a great job on 94.3 The Game, calling the action. We'll get a break in. We'll come back. Bobby Harward will join us. We will mock our first 10 picks of the NFL Draft, which is underway tonight, and looking forward to that. We'll get a break in. We'll be right back. This is Hoist the Colors.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
In Eastern North Carolina, people appreciate things that are straightforward, honest, and dependable. For decades, our team has focused on cutting through insurance complexity for the communities we serve. And now, we're bringing that same mindset to our name. We're Flatlands Insurance Group, a simpler name that reflects the same local team, the same values, and the same commitment to the great communities we feel blessed to be a part of. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world is covered.
At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU Athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Pirates play here. This is Hoist the Colors Radio with Stephen Igo. On 94.3 The Game.
The Hoist the Colors. Appreciate Dylan Johnson for stopping by the studio. 94.3 The Game.com. You can hear the call all weekend long. Pirates hosting USF. in another key series. When you're chasing a championship or in the championship race, every series is a big one. And Dylan and Coach O will be on the call this weekend. We'll try to get Dylan back in the studio in a couple weeks. When the Pirates are home against Rice, they'll go to Memphis in between then. All right, it is draft day. The NFL draft is here, and we've got our guy, Bobby Harward. I don't know if he's frozen. Okay, there he is. He's moving. I just saw the hand up in the air, and is that – are you wearing like a Hawaiian necklace with flowers? Oh, it's the chain. It's the chain.
Dude,
okay.
You were there when he bought it.
The knockoff,
That's right.
the brand knockoff chain. I couldn't see it. I guess my eyesight's going bad. I don't know. What's up, Bobby? You fired up?
Dude, I am pumped. We are like, 7.5 hours out from the NFL draft, which I get jacked up for every single year. Every year I do a mock. Every year I get more picks correct than Mel Kiper. But still, I have no idea who the Commanders are picking at 7. And, in reference to this chain, I don't think I told you guys, when we got back from that trip, I looked up to see how official this kind of looked, and it's pretty legit. It's kind of what they sold in the stadium. So I saved $20 on this purchase, which I think was a terrific purchase.
Well, that was an epic night, man. It was – I was hoping for, I should say, a comfortable Denver win, but it ended up being one of my favorite sporting events I've ever attended as a fan. With how the game played out, we saw an awesome catch right in front of us. So it was a fun night, man. So and you got a chain. So, could it get any better? Lane Smith in the chat says the Eagles are going back to the Super Bowl this year and Washington blows. How would you like to respond?
Lane, the Eagles will not make the playoffs this year.
Ooh.
And they will have a new quarterback next year.
There you go.
Do you actually think this, or are you just trying to tick Lane off?
I don't know if I necessarily believe the playoff aspect of it, because they are pretty good in the trenches. And the style of play they have can really win playoff games. But I do think some things are starting to happen with Jalen Hurts. We'll see. It already sounds like A.J. Brown's out the door and going to New England post-June 1. So
NFL draft underway tonight, first round. It is in Pittsburgh. First time the city has hosted the draft since 1948. So the draft in Pittsburgh. And before we get started on our mock, I'm curious, do you guys watch the main ESPN broadcast? Do you watch NFL Network? Do you watch the new college driven? I think they have the alternative Kirk Herbstreit, was it Fowler on one channel?
Yeah, Desmond, I think's on it. Yeah.
How do y'all take in the draft?
So I watch on NFL Network. Now that NFL Network is owned by ESPN, we'll see what difference there is. But I don't know. ESPN played too much into the drama stuff, and it just irritated me. I just wanted to hear football, evaluations. The only ESPN thing I will watch is I'll watch the Pat McAfee broadcast, and they have Peter Schrager on there, who's probably my favorite reporter or insider for the NFL.
That is a good I forgot about the NFL Network being acquired by the ESPN, so it may just be streamlined. I'm hoping
Yeah,
not.
I don't know. I don't know how they're doing that this year. Once the week gets going, it's only on NFL Network, so I pretty much watch that. But early, I think the party I go to watches NFL or ESPN. I've historically watched the ESPN broadcast.
Yeah. I'm usually just the ESPN guy. But I will say I typically get tired about halfway through the first round and then flip it over to NFL Network in the past. I guess we'll see what it looks like tonight. I'm not a big – I like Herbstreit. I just don't really care to hear his opinion about NFL draft picks, even if he's been watching these guys. All right, let's start mock draft. Do we all have our 10 picks?
Yep.
Ready to go? We'll start with number 1. I think we're all going to be on the same page here. The Las Vegas Raiders select Fernando Mendoza, quarterback, Indiana. Does anybody have a shocker?
Cricket.
All right. Fernando Mendoza goes number 1 overall. The New York Jets, James Giglio's Super Bowl, they pick second. The rumor is they're going to take an edge rusher. I guess the question is, which edge rusher is it? We've seen David Bailey, Arvell Reese. We'll start with Bobby here. Who do you have the Jets taking?
I got David Bailey. I know they canceled his top 30 visit, which seems off, but in my opinion, I think they have all the information he needs, or they need on him. So no point of bringing him in and making a trip. And my thought is they brought in Arvell Reese just to try to get some more information to see if he changed their mind.
Yeah, I think that's it. You don't want to waste a top 30 visit on a guy you know you're going to take when you can worry about guys in the 5th round or so. So I'm going to go with Bailey here.
I have David Bailey as well, going number 2 overall from Texas Tech. All right, the Arizona Cardinals, a lot of people say this is where the draft will really start. Bobby, I'll let you go first. I know Philip's got an interesting pick here as well.
So I'm torn on this one. In my mock that I wrote up here, I had written a potential trade and Arvell Reese being the pick. But I feel like very rarely, as through your listening to your first 2 segments, very rarely does that pick get traded. So I'm going to actually switcheroo. Jeremiah Love. The Cardinals stay at 3 and take Jeremiah Love.
Interesting there. Yeah, I've actually have what you originally had. And I just think with the addition of Tyler Algier, also the addition of Josh Sweat, they've added to their edge rushing room. They've gone defensive end in the first round each of the last 2 years. They're still high on those guys. I think they do trade this pick. I think the Giants want to move up ahead of the Titans, who are also looking at an outside linebacker, edge kind of guy. So I have Atlanta trading up here. Not Atlanta. The Giants trading up here, and taking Reese.
All right, I have Jeremiah Love as well going to the Cardinals. This just feels like a Cardinals pick. And I don't know, typically bad franchises, they just go with the sexy pick over what should be maybe the better pick. And I just don't like a running back at 3. I know Jeremiah Love is a freak, but this just feels like something the Cardinals would do, and we'll see. Number 4, the Tennessee Titans. Select 2, Bobby, in your mock.
I have Sonny Styles. Now, in my mock, Arvell Reese is still on the board, and they have a pass rushing need, but, I still think they go Styles and get a leader for their defense.
I think he fits the Robert Saleh mold perfectly. I've got Styles here as well.
I've got Arvell Reese going off the board to the Titans for the reasons Bobby mentions. I think they've got so many needs, both of them make sense. And obviously Reese is gone and Phillips mock at this point. And Styles, I think Styles or Reese could be the move here, just depending on what Tennessee prefers. All right, number 5, the New York Giants. I guess, Philip, how about what pick do you have the Giants trading from to move up?
This one here.
Okay.
So I've got the Cardinals picking here.
Okay, so Bobby and I will go first with the Giants, and then we'll let you make the Cardinals 5th overall pick. Bobby.
So, like Phillip, I have the Giants selecting Arvell Reese just in the 5th spot. The board kind of slides to them perfectly, which frustrates me as a Commanders fan because I fear that the Giants are becoming competent with Harbaugh.
Yeah. I mean, if they were to get Reese there, that's a good landing spot and good pick, and that shows you the creative. Or the craziness of the draft. I mean, could they have to trade up to get him, or should they stay at 5? I mean, you just never know. I've got Jordan Tyson, receiver, Arizona State. Now, there's some dialogue on who will go first between him and Carnell Tate. Tyson seems to be the higher upside player, but has dealt with some injuries. He tested really well, though, and I think the Giants fall in love with him as a potential playmaker, take him 5th overall with Reese off the board and Love as well off the board. Philip, who you got the Cardinals taking here?
So, I think the Cardinals really need to improve in the offensive line, especially the right tackle position. So I have them taking the big kid out of Miami. I think it's, is it Manigoa? Is that how you say it? I don't even know if I'm saying it.
Manigoa?
Yeah, the right tackle out of Miami. I think it's a good fit for him. They could have got him at 3. But that's why I think he's kind of a stretch at 3. So I think that's why they're going to try and trade back here.
That would be a great pick for the Cardinals. That would be a great pick. That's why they won't make it, because they'll make the silly pick.
I know. I'm trying to think logically here. Okay, not like the Cardinals.
6th overall, the Cleveland Browns, they need an offensive lineman as well. Bobby, who do you have them taking?
I have them taking Spencer Fano. I think he's the one that I've seen some of these offensive line, it really just depends on, the evaluators, but I've seen him mocked pretty consistently from the reporters that I trust to the Browns. So I'm going to go Spencer Fano from Utah.
Yeah, I've got the same pick here. I think this is a perfect fit for them.
I have Francis Mauigoa going to the Browns, or however you say his last name, the offensive tackle from Miami. Again, it seems to be a lock. The Browns are going to take a tackle here. It's just a matter of which tackle at 6th overall. All right, the Washington. Now, I'm going to be honest. I have the Washington Redskins written down in my mock draft without even thinking about it. So I didn't even go Commanders. But Washington Commanders, Bobby, who is going to go to Landover, Maryland next for the Washington Commanders?
You know, it really could be one of 4 guys, I think. So I have no idea. It just depends on how the board falls. My mock draft is maybe more of what I'm hopeful happens. And I'm actually going to start my run of offensive tackles here. I have the Miami Dolphins trading up from 11 to select Francis Mauigoa from Miami, the guy that you guys just had kind of go the last 2 picks, each of you. But the reason for that is the Commanders only have 2 picks in the top 100. They lost their 2nd-round pick trading for Laremy Tunsil. They lost their 4th-round pick trading for Laremy Tunsil. So it's a big gap from 7 to 71, and they need to try to trade back if they have a partner to recoup some value, or trade capital, excuse me.
No, I think that's legit. And, you have been saying this really since the beginning of last season, that there was only going to be 2 picks in the top 100 and that Washington needed to find a way to get more picks. So I think that's a great trade. However, I do think if no one trades up, which I didn't have anybody trading up a trade partner for them, they need some weapons for your boy JD5. So I have them going with Tate, the wide receiver out of Ohio State.
I've got Sonny Styles falling to Washington here, and I think they pick. How would that make you feel, Bobby? Sonny Styles.
I would be excited. I mean, as much as I loved Bobby Wagner last year, he was a liability in the pass game. Everything I've read about Sonny Styles, I mean, he seems like the perfect guy you want quarterbacking your defense. He's a freak athlete, being a former safety, converting to linebacker. I would honestly love it.
I was torn between taking Caleb Downs or Styles, but went with Styles, both shockingly coming from Ohio State, which I think has 4 picks in my top 10. Speaking of number 8, did New Orleans Saints take who, Bobby?
I have them taking Carnell Tate. This is the first receiver I have off the board. No rhyme or reason. I think the Saints are an option to trade up to maybe get one of those pass rushers, but with them already off the board, those defensive guys, I think they switch over to receiver and go Tate.
I think it's true in a perfect scenario. They would like to get one of those guys. I already have Carnell Tate off the board. I think this begins to run on receivers, and they go with Jordan Tyson.
I've got Carnell Tate to the Saints as well, so it seems like they're going to make a play for a receiver. Number 9, the Kansas City Chiefs are a team that's gotten some buzz about them trading up to get an Arvell Reese. But number 9, they could still probably land an edge here or another position of need, offensive tackle maybe. So what do you got, Bobby, for the Chiefs at number 9?
You know, I like the pass rusher. I kind of like the idea of Reuben Bain, but they've lost both of their starting corners. So I'm going to have them selecting Mansour Delane out of LSU. Another guy I would love the Commanders to pick up, but I think he fits in well in Kansas City.
I think that's a logical pick, but, you got to have Mahomes have some weapons. They've lost Hollywood Brown, so I think they're going with Kyle Lemon out of USC.
Chiefs have a lot of needs, we're finding
They
out.
do. They pretty much are set at quarterback, and that's it.
Reuben Bain Jr. is who I have them taken at edge. Just think, I think they want a pass rusher, and I'm gonna say they end up sticking at 9 and land Reuben Bain, which is a pretty good pick for the 3rd edge coming off the board. And finally, to round out our top 10, the New York Giants with their 2nd pick of the top 10, which I know Bobby loves to hear. Who do you have them closing the top 10 with?
So I have them closing with the receiver, another weapon for Jackson Dart. I have them selecting Jordan Tyson. Now, Jordan Tyson either he's this boom or a lot of popularity is real, or he has the best agent known to man, because he has been mocked all across the top 10 within the last week. And prior to that, he was projected in the late teens.
Yeah, and I have him going number 5 to the Giants. So that's the thing. You just never know.
Yeah, you don't. And, I think they ideally do want a wide receiver at this position, but because I already went on that run with receivers, I feel like all the teams ahead of them need them as well. I had them taking Caleb Downs, the safety out of Ohio State, just kind of as the best player available in a defense that really needs to bulk up on the back end.
I have Caleb Downs going to the Giants as well, which I think would be a great pick at 10th overall, and would make the Giants a lot better. So a lot of intrigue here, especially picks 3 through 10. Bobby, I know you got to run, but I'm excited tonight, man. Appreciate you hopping on today.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate y'all having me. I enjoyed doing this, and I enjoyed the fact that we had like different picks this year. I felt like last year that all of ours were almost the same, but look forward to seeing y'all's beautiful faces in studio tomorrow.
We will see you then, and we'll see who got the most right. And
I do want to note, Bobby and I both know Jeremiah Love in the top 10. That's interesting.
That is true.
I had Love at 5.
Oh,
you did? Okay.
He's got Love at 3, actually.
Okay.
No,
Cardinals,
3.
yeah.
I had him at 3. I had him
Did you not have him, Steven, then?
Arizona.
I had him at 3, too, with the Cardinals. So I guess it's just you. The Cardinals are bust for Love.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, if I can sneak this in, because I read this morning, it was interesting. It's talking about the value of some of these positions, because these highly valued positions are not the best players in the draft. Like if the Commanders drafted Love at 7 based upon the rookie scale, he would automatically slot in as the 12th highest paid running back in the NFL. Now, if he goes even higher to 3, he's going to be even higher on that list. And just talk about positional value and that scale and what they're evaluating. It's interesting.
Crazy stuff. It's what makes the NFL draft so fun and so intriguing. Bobby, appreciate you again, man. We'll see you tomorrow in the studio.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so we got to get a final break in. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show after this.
Get ready to bring on the savings at Greenville Toyota with major deals on brand new Toyotas like a Camry, $229 a month, or RAV4, $279 a month. Now's your turn to save at Greenville Toyota.
In Eastern North Carolina, hard work matters, and it always has. At Flatlands Insurance Group, we've been showing up for our neighbors since 1963, helping families and business owners navigate change, weather tough seasons, and keep moving forward. Decades later, our purpose hasn't changed: to help protect what you've poured your time and energy to, from your home to your health to whatever comes next. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world covered.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color, and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Your future is full of possibilities, and Pitt Community College can help you explore every option. You can earn a degree, learn a trade, transfer to a university, or launch a new career. We offer the support you need to succeed with flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and programs designed for the real world. Your path, your future, your college. Pitt Community College. Register now.
Bring on the savings with new Toyotas from $159 a month at Greenville Toyota. Get huge discounts like Corolla's $159 a month or Tacoma's $249 a month. Save today at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
Visit Larry's Steakhouse for a tender, hand-cut certified Angus ribeye. Other entrees include perfectly seasoned pork chops, chicken or seafood favorites like shrimp, tuna, and salmon. Complement your meal with Larry's fresh 20-plus item salad bar, or enjoy it as an all-you-can-eat entree. Daily rotating favorites include meatloaf, chicken pastry, hamburger steak, spaghetti, pork chops, and more, all complemented with your favorite country sides. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, or our Sunday brunch, remember to support and eat local. Larry's Steakhouse.
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Arr, matey!
Back to the show with Steve and I go on 94.3 The Game.
All right, we only got a few minutes left, so I'm going to bring up something that happened yesterday that was crazy in Major League Baseball that we can discuss. So the Mariners not only because they're my favorite team, but have one of the more interesting things happen as I was watching. Logan Gilbert, the pitcher, there was a line drive directly to him that went inside his jersey, never hit the ground, swirled around straight in the air into his jersey. Eventually, he pulled it out of his jersey. The ball never hit the ground, and the umpires got together and they ruled that it was illegal to make the catch with your jersey. Apparently, it's illegal to make the catch with any part of your equipment. I guess anything besides your glove or hand. And either way, they gave the batter a base hit, and he got to first base, and the other runners advanced as well. My question is, should this be a hit or should this be an out?
I think they need to put the word intentional in there. I have no problem with them saying, hey, you can't intentionally take your hat off and catch the ball with your hat or something like that. But when you take a line drive that just gets stuck in your jersey, I mean, hell, he didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah.
He got the ball before it hit the ground. This is stupid.
I just feel like growing up with the game of baseball, you're always taught if you catch the ball before it hits the ground, it's an out. Like,
is this a baseball rule, I wonder, or an MLB rule?
I don't know. I know for sure it's an MLB rule that you can't use any of your equipment.
We've got a minute and 20 seconds left.
I just feel like, yeah, man, you take it off the stomach, you get it in your jersey, it should be an out. I don't know.
It'd be different if he opened his jersey up and tried to aim the line drive to go in there. Again, intentional, yeah. This was unintentional. It was a natural play. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Go kick rocks, man, fraud.
Just crazy. But hey, ball don't lie. Mariners win in walk-off fashion. So they needed it. They're about as bad as the Red Sox.
5-4, I think. Is that what the final was?
Josh Naylor with the walk-off hit. All right, we got to get out of here. Fun show. Appreciate Dylan Johnson. Thanks to Bobby Harward as well for his mock draft and the idea for that. We'll be back tomorrow. Bobby will be in studio. And Jonathan Wagner. Rumor is he plans to stop in as well for the ECU USF series. So we'll see you guys 12 noon on Friday.